So there's been quite a lot of publicity in the news in the last couple of days about Priti Patel not being able to pronounce her numbers correctly. This is one of the headlines that I googled just quickly to see what was going on, and this number itself that's been written down is completely confusing as well. If you've watched the video, basically the number that she said, she's got muddled up with where to say the word 1,000. Okay, so I believe that the correct number that she was trying to say was this, and let's see where it went wrong. Okay, so the purpose of putting commas in a number like this, and I don't know whether what she was reading from had a comma in it or not, but the purpose of that comma is to tell you when to say a word like 1,000. Now, you're not always going to say 1,000, sometimes you'll say million, billion, etc., which we'll come to in a minute, but this is the purpose of putting the comma there. So you would read this out and you would say 334,000, and then you would read this number out and just say 974. The number that Priti Patel actually said isn't a number because she uses the word 1,000 twice. And this leads to this kind of, I would say, a little bit deceptive kind of headline here. This number here, well, this isn't even a number because, and I think this might be deliberate, that there is a comma not been put in here. If that comma was here, then this number would be 300,034,974,000. Okay, so again, the commas are telling me when to say certain words. So I would say 300, then the comma tells me to say a word like million, billion, thousand, etc. In this one, it's billion, so it's 300 billion, 34 million, 974,000. This is why commas are put in there, really, to help you to break the number down when they're quite big. The embarrassing thing really for Priti Patel is that this number over here, if this is the correct number that she was trying to say, this isn't a big number at all. And how she's not been able to say that number is beyond me, to be perfectly honest. So let's just have a quick look at some bigger numbers and break them down, okay? So let's say you had a number like this with no commas in it. You need to be able to put the commas in yourself, and most people start looking this end and they say, oh, is it 14 billion, 1 billion, 1 million, 14 million? And they get themselves in a pickle. Really, what you've got to do is you've got to start from the other end, and you go in, and every time you see three numbers, put a comma. You can see another three numbers here, put a comma, and then you can start this end and say, oh, this is 14 something. Okay, now the important thing is, again, maybe work from the right. This number here, you're just going to say it as a normal number. You're just going to say 236. But this number here, you're also just going to say it as a normal number, 947. Okay, but the presence of this comma means that you would say the word 1,000 in between these two numbers. Okay, and then when we come to here, this must be another new word, and it is million. Okay, so if you look at how I've written this out up here, we say 14, then a word, million, 947,236. Okay, so let's maybe go a little bit bigger. Okay, so we've gone a bit bigger, but it doesn't really matter, the process is the same. Stick a comma in here, go three numbers, comma, three numbers, comma, three numbers, comma. Okay, so when we did this last time, this obviously was 1,000. I'll just abbreviate that to TH, okay, and then this one was million, and we didn't get beyond that. We've gone a bit further this time, so we've got another word here. Well, next biggest after million is billion, and then we've got another one here, okay, so this is trillion, okay. To be honest, adults and children, they kind of get lost beyond million, to be honest. Sometimes they get it right and say billion. I mean, they come up with words that don't even exist, like zillion. You know, this is not particularly well known, okay? And it's because we just don't really use numbers and see numbers like this sort of size very often, okay? But it's not difficult. 1,000, million, billion, trillion, that's going to serve you pretty well. So how do we say this number? So it's going to be 1,923,467,249,167. Okay, let's just go a little bit further, but let's just add some digits here. So if this was, let's say it was this is 3 digits, so you'd still be saying the word trillion, but it will be 231 trillion. but we go one more. If we put another digit here, we'd need to know what this word is, and nobody ever really uses this word. It would be a quadrillion. Okay, so this would be 3 quadrillion, 231 trillion, etc, etc, etc. Okay, so you can see that you go from billion, begins with bi, as in bicycle, tricycle, so we've gone from 2, 3, and then you go up to quadrillion. Okay, not much point going beyond that because nobody ever really uses these words anyway. But it is useful for breaking down fairly simple numbers like Priti Patel had. If she had put a comma in and said the word 1,000 in the right place, she wouldn't have had any issues.